Hey guys! So, different day, same sweater, with glasses. And I thought I would show you guys a little ahead of time my O.W.L.s Readathon TBR. Basically, there's this readathon hosted by G from Book Roast, and it's a month long every year in April. That's the O.W.L.s Readathon. Then there's another one that's the Needs Readathon that builds off of the previous O.W.L.s in August, and I'm going to participate this year. I hope I can manage to do the amount of reading I want to in August. I'm really not sure because I'll probably be busy trying to get a degree. But for now, in April, I'm still kind of keeping it low-key on that front, so maybe I'm going to be able to do this, maybe I'm not. We'll see. I thought I would show you the books I want to read. I've been looking at all the different careers you can do. So basically, there's an array of different careers, and they require you to do different O.W.L.s and different newts, get different grades in all of those subjects, and the different subjects correspond to prompts. And for the O.W.L.s, it's pretty straightforward. If you have to do a certain subject, you fulfill the prompt, you read a book. You're supposed to only have one book per prompt, so you can't just do like one book for 3 prompts. So I chose to go for Professor, which I'm really excited about. There were a couple that I was interested in, but the Professor is 7 O.W.L.s and 8 newts, and I think that's enough. Also, I completely forgot to say, O.W.L.s and newts is obviously a reference to Harry Potter. It's a Harry Potter readathon. I haven't even mentioned that. Good God. But yeah, and it's amazing, and I love the idea and how much care G puts into it, and like it's so great. What can I say? Since I'm going for Professor, it's pretty open-ended for me what O.W.L.s I want to take. So I actually looked at what I needed for my animagus training, and then I just decided that the stuff I was going to do as a professor, because in those cases I think you can have it overlap, and you can, if you need something for for one of your additional trainings, and that you can do, you don't have to, and your career, they can overlap and you don't have to read 2 books if you have to fulfill the thing twice. So it's what I decided to do because I want to be an animagus, and I think this is such a great idea. So I just looked at, I forgot which ones there were. I think Transfiguration for sure was one of them. And then I just said those 3, plus for Professor you also need Defense Against the Dark Arts, plus a subject you want to teach, and 5 other ones that you can just freely choose. So I have a total of 7 different prompts, 7 different subjects that I'm going to take. For teaching, I think I'm either going for Transfiguration or Charms, because it's great. Why not? So I've taken both for now, and I'm going to decide further during my newts, which is a great thing to say. The nerd in me is so happy. So the first subject is Arrhythmia, and that's reading a book outside of my comfort zone. And for that I chose 28 Tage lang. This is actually a German book, but the title translates to 28 days long. I don't know how to pronounce it in English, to be honest, but it's about the sort of uprising in the ghetto in the Polish capital, which in German is Warsaw, and I don't know how it's pronounced in English. I would try Polish pronunciation, but that would also not work very well. Historical fiction isn't really my forte. I started reading the first couple pages, sounded really interesting. It's about a girl who's a smuggler and smuggling stuff into the ghetto. I think especially food, if I get it right. Yeah. You know, I feel like adding these stories to these historical things we already know makes it hit harder and makes you understand more of the individual stories and the individual hardships, because I think it can be a really abstract thing if you learn about it in history class. So I think it's important to read these things, but it also is not something I really enjoy doing, if I'm honest. So gonna gonna do that. The next subject is Care of Magical Creatures. The prompt is to read a book with a beak on the cover, Die Stadt der wilden Götter by Isabel Allende. So you surely probably want to hear me butcher some Spanish. So the original title in Spanish is La Ciudad de las Bestias, and the English title I would assume is something along the same lines. So it's, you know, The City of the Wild Gods, which, like, that's an amazing title. Wow. Okay, I'm excited. I think it's a sort of middle grade / YA story. It has some fantasy in there, but also I think Isabel Allende also writes with an eye for societal issues. So I expect different sort of nuances and themes in this book, and I hope it's good. I haven't read anything by her before, but I really want to. It's interesting to start with her first book for children, I suppose. But, you know, it's as good a start as any. The next book is Charms, and that's a book with white on the cover. Actually, I noticed I messed this up, because I was like, oh, I'm going to use On the Come Up. But On the Come Up, while being on my shelf, looked really white. It is not. So I'm just going to quickly switch that around with a different book that I have. I'm just going to say this is white, even though it's, you know, a little, like, off, a little grayish, but whatever. Das ist mein Leben, which is Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I watched the movie years ago, and I've always wanted to read the book. I don't know if it's up my alley these days, but I'm gonna read it anyway. The next book is Defense Against the Dark Arts, and that's set at sea or at a coast. So I don't know if this is entirely right, but since it takes place in different places in Europe, some of which are at the coast, I looked at the map in the front of the book, and I was like, yeah, checks out. I chose The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. People have said this is a lot like Red, White and Royal Blue, which I loved, so I'm really looking forward to this. I actually bought this before I got Red, White and Royal Blue, but because it's a chunky boy, was a bit intimidated. I haven't read it yet, but April is going to be the month. The next one is Muggle Studies, and that prompt is to read a contemporary, and I chose On the Come Up by Angel Thomas. I read The Hate You Give a couple months ago, and it was great, and I hope this is going to be great too. I think that's all I have to say about it. I expect to like this. It's just also pretty big. It's pretty heavy too, but I'll manage, hopefully. I mean, I don't expect to be able to leave my house that much anytime soon, so I might as well just read. So the last two prompts I'm also going to fulfill is for Potions, which is a book under 150 pages, and Transfiguration, which is a book that includes shapeshifting. The 150 words actually is the most difficult one, which I did not expect. I do have one book that's pretty much exactly 150 pages, but I'm not really keen on reading it. I'll see if I'm gonna make it that one, but I think for shapeshifting, I'm actually gonna order the 4th book of the Wayfarer series, which is a bit stupid now that I think about it, because I haven't even read the 3rd book. I know they're not connected, but still it would be nice to read them in order. But thinking about getting the novella by Becky Chambers, it's called To Be Taught Fortunate, and I want it because I like the first 2 books a lot. I have the first 3, and that's like the next book in the series, so I want to get it. And why not now, if it fits very well into a prompt, because I know it's about shape-shifting. Not in a fantasy sense, because it's sci-fi, but sort of in like a, I guess, bioengineering kind of way. We'll see how I'll manage to find the last 2 books. That's the plan. Again, I don't know what to do about the 150 words. Maybe I'm just gonna reread like a children's book, just to chill out. I don't know. But yeah, that was just a short, hopefully, if I edit this properly, a short video about my O.W.L.s Readathon /April TBR, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon, probably. I don't know, maybe I'm gonna make more videos in the next couple of days. It's not like I have anything else to do, so, you know, do return if you want to. I'm gonna be here, so I need to go to bed, clearly. I will see you soon. Bye!